Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I gotta point out some stuff. This is the insanity of why people accept things the way they are. And if a dad wants to stand up and go against the flow and stand up for equality, I mean, this is how people treated women during the women's suffrage movement. This is how black people were treated in the civil rights movement. This is how anybody who was crapped on throughout society was treated when they said, hey, we're equal. We're the same. Treat us equally. I did a video on YouTube, and it's on TikTok also, where I talked about why don't you just keep, when there's no court order, why don't you keep your kids? Now, this reveals a few different things. It reveals the how should I say it? The aesthetically challenged, or the lack of abs deficiency, the extreme opposite of a woman with abs and toned legs and toned arms and a flat belly. A woman like that, and what's crazy, her name is Karen. Comes on my page when I talk about why don't you keep your kids when there's no court order. So let's take a look at Karen's answer. So there's Karen C. You can look at her profile picture. You look at her page. I'm going to use a picture that's in one of her videos so you can see how narrow face challenge her face is. It's way out here. And you can see why she likely is bitter at men or men like me. Now, I'm old, fat, and ugly myself, but I don't pretend to be something that I'm not or whatever. So Karen commented, my advice, there's no court order. The mother's keeping the kids from you. And why don't you just, when you got the kids and she says, you have to obey me, don't keep the kids longer than I'm dictating to you. You aren't getting along with her. You guys aren't working it out. And I say, why don't you just keep the kids as long as you want to? That's what the mother's doing. There's no court order. This also shows how inferior many women are when it comes to just common sense, logic, listening. And, they say women listen with their emotions. They look at you and they say, I don't like you. And they ignore what you're saying in the logic. Like, let's say you go to mediation. You've been telling your baby's mom, let's settle on 50-50. And then your baby's mom was like, screw you. I want the kids. I want child support. You can have every other weekend. That's what they give for everybody else. Yada, yada. She doesn't like you, so she's going to oppose whatever you say. And then you go and sit down in front of a mediator with a power suit and tie and a fancy desk, and she respects the power and the position of authority that the mediator has. And the mediator says, well, this is a great case for 50-50. And she goes, oh, okay, that sounds good. You said the same exact thing, but she's not listening to what you're saying, because a lot of women can't do that. She's reacting emotionally to who you personally are in her life, and she's somebody she doesn't like, so she won't listen. If you tell her to stop smoking, she'll smoke. If you tell her pedophiles are bad for kids, she'll go date a pedophile just to oppose you, So Karen, who can't listen, who's got some Helen Keller issues going on, she says that my advice to dad, just keep your kid when there's no court order. This is terrible advice. Attend the mediation and court dates to get an equitable parenting agreement. Well, this lady is already delusional in thinking when you're fighting and the other person is abusing your kids and withholding your kids and keeping your kids from you. Go to mediation and work it out with the intransigent person who won't work stuff out with you. This is insane. I can't believe this lady has such a huge lack of self-awareness that she has the audacity to come on and look this stupid. But emotional basket case weirdos like this don't care how dumb that they look. So I have to open up the comment a little bit more. Attend the mediation and the court dates to get equitable. So attend the court and get an equitable decision, because the courts are always equitable. This stupid airhead probably thinks that people of color and low-income people get the same results as rich people in the criminal justice system. Don't be fooled by this grandiose language. A child is not possession. I didn't say a child is possession. That's why your right to for the child to have both parents. When you have the child, keep the child as long as you want. See, this lady is like a white supremacist, psychotic racist when Jackie Robinson was transitioning into the major leagues. If Jackie Robinson is sliding in a second and he gets spit on and called the N-word by somebody, and then Jackie gets up and pushes him, the white supremacists in the crowd will say, look at that, he pushed him. What a monster, what an animal. I knew those black people were just a bunch of monsters, or they're violent and stuff, while totally ignoring the violence by the white person inflicted on him. But he doesn't see that because he hates black people, or a German who hates Jews, or whatever. A Chinese person who hates Koreans or whatever. They're going to look at it like that. This lady, I give an example of a mother abusing a kid, withholding a kid, and then telling the dad, you can't see your kid that much. And I said, why don't you just keep your kid longer? Do exactly what the mother's doing. And this lady says, your child is not a dog or a set of headphones, not a car, not a possession. I know a guy who talks like this and never attended the mediation and court dates. Did I say don't attend the court dates? Why? So she goes to some exam. So she's triggered by some guy that she knows. So what I said triggered her. She's so mentally ill. Her entire world revolves around some personal wound she has from some guy she knew or something, that her self-righteous, perfectly holy, God complex having, mentality is offended by. I know a guy who talks like this and never attended mediation. I attended everything. He is also a huge creep. Child support isn't even an issue because the mother never asked for it. Why wouldn't he attend the mediation? Why has this lady got to stick up her butt about somebody who didn't attend a mediation, which is a scam, which I've had law professors tell me it's a scam, and lawyers tell me it's a scam, and it's a scam among them. She's telling you to go to the corrupt court system, to go to the corrupt mediation scam, and just go with the scam of mediation. And then he is on record being abusive, so he's afraid he won't get what he wants. Plus, she's making some opinion about something we can't even prove or see. Plus, with a parenting plan agreement, he loses all of his control, which he exerts to abuse. So this is a psychotic, hideously ugly fat woman who's triggered by some guy who abused women. And so at least 50% of domestic violence perpetrators are women. 60% of physical child abuse are women. 90% of emotional child abusers are women. And this lady finds one guy who committed domestic violence, and then she says my advice is bad because of some disassociation. She's so psycho that she's obviously triggered and clings to this wound that she has from some random guy. Plus, with a parenting agreement, he loses a lot. So yeah, I understand why men don't go the legal route. I didn't say go. We're talking about court. See, now she's so stupid she created a straw man. Now she's arguing. She's so off in her delusional, like, psychotic, fat, ugly, never can get a normal man world that she starts making up stuff. I know why men don't go the legal route. I'm sitting here talking about the legal route. But before you go to court, you can get your kid before there's a court order in place. But you risk losing your kid and going to prison. You go to prison for what crime, you stupid airhead? Hey, Karen. And it's CARENANN 918. Hey, fat, ugly, man-hating chick. Tell us what the law is you can go to prison for by keeping your kid, just like the mother does when there's no court order. Psychotic, evil, radical, feminist, man-hating witch. Never mind the psychological damage you can inflict, which this guy does not care about at all. I'm talking the psychological damage of depriving a child of a father is scientific, and the mother's depriving the child of a father. And I say, why don't you feed, like if you got food and healthy food in your home, and the mother's giving the kids Twinkie, junk food, and candy, and they got diabetes, and they got rotten teeth, and it's just bad for their system, and you have the child, and you keep the child longer at your house while you feed them fruits and veggies and stuff, she will say you're a child abuser because you're feeding them something that they need, but you're not doing it according to her will. Psychotic, mentally ill, demon-possessed Jezebel. And then Tru Catlin, she pulled herself, TruCatlin. Oh my God, this is terrible advice. I'm not a lawyer, but I work for one. So this lady works for a lawyer and works for the corrupt system. There is such a thing as motion to enforce visitation, and dear God, you would just give your evil ex's lawyer ammunition. You can enforce visitation when you have a court order. I just said when you don't have a court order and there's nothing going on. These women are so psycho. They're basically saying dads should never see their kids and moms own the kids, and don't act like you own the kid by keeping the kid when it's your time. See how psychotic women are? See how crazy they are? And see what the haters that I got to deal with? They're making themselves look stupid. And no self-awareness. Well, Tru Catlin